creative work. It's great to speak to you all. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. Sorry the Skype didn't work, but I think a phone call is the third best alternative. So let's talk about the future of creative work. But let's start with, is the internet, is it helping or hurting creative careers? And the next slide there, the first slide is one of the white backgrounds. You can see what I think is one of the most important things the internet has enabled creative professionals like yourselves, like those that we work with, do. And that's to get amplification for your work and great exposure for your work. Especially in a professional setting, for so long, creatives have their work done in isolation, and nobody quite knew who had done what. And I think the single best thing the internet has enabled us to do is to truly amplify your work, to get it out to a much, much broader audience. One of the exciting things at Behance is that we feature projects from all sorts of creative fields, architects like yourself, photographers and designers, and it's really amazing to watch them go viral. So somebody will upload, a new photography project, and we'll see somebody like Ashton Kutcher tweet it, and have it just go out to millions of people. And that's so rewarding for the work that's been done by the creative. I think that is absolutely a net positive that the internet has enabled us to do. So in the next slide, you see another hugely important trend for us creative in the future of creative work, and it's access to free resources. You see a wide variety of tools at your disposal now that were unimaginable 5 years ago, much less 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's really enabled us to do the work of a professional on the budget of a consumer. And on the next slide, you see, it's enterprise level for all. What that means is that it's a consumerification of the enterprise, and that previously to be a great architect, you were forced to spend, thousands upon thousands of dollars in the latest version of AutoCAD and whatever other sort of tools you needed. Today, you can access those things at a much more affordable rate, and one that scales with you as you grow. So your entry point into the industry, both as an architect and as a designer, or just as a creative in general, started at a price point that's way more affordable. And that's enabled almost exclusively by the internet. So again, it's an area in which the future of creative work looks very bright. We have access to the tools and resources that we need. So the next slide is about connection and collaboration. And again, work used to be done in small pockets that were geographically constrained and geographically specific. It's really hard to go back and forth on a creative project over the phone. You need to actually see the piece of work in question. And that's the great thing about all of the social networking tools and just the social aspect of the web today, is that you're able to connect and to collaborate with people across industries with no limit or regard to geography. And I think particularly on the client side, we're becoming much, much more comfortable and confident in hiring somebody they've never met in person. It used to be where you had to have made the connection in person, and then you could follow up with phone calls and do some of the work. Today, it's really commonplace. We get a lot of great work done exclusively over the internet. And again, that's a net positive for us. I think it's really great. But there's some dark sides to the internet. And then the next slide you see one of the worst trends we see in sort of the internet is crowdsourcing, skycasting. So 13,000 submissions, which would represent, something like 100,000, 20,000 hours of creative time potential, were all done for one grand prize of €1,500 or $1,500. The hourly wage, if you calculate that out, for the creative in question, is in the pennies. It's just abysmal. And it's one of those things where we really want to honor the work that's done by great creative professionals and help rise it up to a much higher statute. And what crowdsourcing does in its current iteration is it subjugates creatives. It basically says, we value your work so little that we wouldn't even pay you minimum wage to do this work for us. It really comes into clear contrast when you compare it to different companies. So imagine a doctor who only gets paid if they successfully cured somebody from a disease. That's not how it works. You pay the doctor when you see them. They're going to do their best work from the outset, and they're compensated from the outset, not as some spec concept where maybe they would get paid. And I think that's a big, a big challenge that we as creatives have faced in the marketplace. The next slide is about the loss of attribution. The positive here is that the work to be amplified much easier than ever could have been before. The downside is that somebody could see the work that you did, whether it be a sketch of a new building or a new sort of interior, and they could reblog it, they could tweet it, they could post it on, on whatever sort of social network they choose, and forget to attribute it. So then your work goes viral, but it goes viral without you. And that, I think, is incredibly dangerous and challenging for a creative professional to lose that sense of attribution. And it's something that we think about at the Behance quite a bit, really want to help fight. The next slide is the sense of commoditized marketplaces. Again, the future of creative work, a lot of people say, well, it's marketplaces where we put up a brief and they will pay somebody $99 to sketch out an entirely new building or a logo for the website. And what these then do is they're a race to the bottom, a race to where the person who is going to force quality work to keep it the job. And that means that the quality of the work is significantly worse. And you as a creative professional are not treated fairly. And you're not able to do the work that you love and need to do and that the clients need from you. And I think it's a real challenge is how do we build marketplaces that are a race to the top, one that will really reward creative work that they've done and the contributions that they've made, and instead of having the price to be the lowest price. And I think it's a significant challenge the industry faces. So now, the next slide sort of shows that, when we think about the internet and how it's impacted our work as creative, there are a lot of things that are fantastic, and there are a lot of things that are net negative, things that hurt us as creatives. But the lesson here is that we cannot be passive participants in our own careers and industry. We have to actively take the reins and fight for what we believe in, fight for the future of our careers. The days of when you could sort of learn a class and post through with a specific firm for the remainder of your career are long gone. It's now much more in our hands how we shape the future of how we work. So a couple of quick thoughts about the future of creative work and what that means, and what that means in the context of the internet and these trends that we've seen. First of all, it needs a great work to receive the credit and attribution it deserves. So it's no longer about your work hiding behind the firm that you work for. It's no longer about your work sort of gathering dust in a portfolio somewhere. It's about getting exposure. And when you get that exposure, you can get attribution if you're smart about it. And proper attribution at scale leads to opportunity. That, I think, is the key to the future of creative work, is getting credit and attribution for what you've done, getting broad exposure for it, and then people will come and find you. It's no longer about sort of hoping that you'll find the right interview at the right place, but it's much more decentralized and much more dependent on the work that you do itself, getting exposure. And the next slide is saying, the resume is dead and the bio is key. It no longer matters as a creative, or I think in almost any profession, where you work. It matters what you have done and how you tell that story. So the story facet of your own career is more important than ever. When I think of the designers and the creatives that we hire at Behance for ourselves, the name of the company that hired them is not terribly important. What is extremely important in their portfolio is that we're able to see their work and to see the bio of what they've done. And that, I think, will only become more important in the future. Let me give you a quick sort of like the next couple slides, just a quick review of Behance and over there. I sort of ask who the audience has heard of our company. But I think this is relevant to you because this is our thesis, right? So this is what we believe is that you as a creative should do the best work, and we want you to do your best work, but you need the proper exposure and attribution. So we built an entire platform just to do that, to put the control back in your own hands, allowing you to take the reins in your own career. You see Behance, it's a platform based in discovery creative work. And here is just some of the most interesting sort of architectural work that's on the site. What is amazing to us is the level or the scale of the traffic that comes to these projects and how much they're seen by a very wide audience. Next slide. Here's a portfolio of 5 local architects. It is 4,000 project views, hundreds of appreciation, lots of followers. And this is the ultimate way to put a stake in the ground for somebody like Five Wilkinson and for other architects and creatives to say, I did this. Allow the world to see your work, to interact with it, to engage with it, be directly accessible to you. Because ultimately that would lead to more creative work. The next slide shows that we think that all of that effort to upload your work and to showcase it in a number of different areas should be effortless. You shouldn't have to spend your time doing that. That's something that we at AIACC want to take care of. So the concept for us is that you upload your project once and you distribute it across a number of networks all across the web. You get lots of attribution. And the next slide shows that even some of those networks are your own personal portfolio site. Having your own branded presence on the web is just so vitally important. And it's something that you should think about in terms of the context, not that how am I going to build this site. That should be done seamlessly and easily by the tools available to you. And the great thing about sites like I think the AIACC and lots of the internet is that the source for inspiration for seeing what your peers are working on is really at your fingertips. Right? That's so exciting to be able to create this project activity and activity group like we have on the AIACC and other sites have. To see what the world is creating. A lot of inspiration to sort of inform your work. And I think it's incredibly important. The last couple points here. It's super important to think of yourself as being your own firm. And the exposure for your best work will lead to new opportunities. And now we think a new type of professionalism is emerging. Not just one who works in an office for somebody, but somebody that we think of as a free radical. And these are what we think of as some of the tenets of these free radicals, people who work on their own terms. You know, we as creatives and free radicals, we seek work that is intrinsically rewarding. We make stuff often. We want to be makers because we have little tolerance for the friction of bureaucracy, the bullboy networks, and political practices. Don't create. We expect to be fully utilized, constantly optimized. That means no more we're sitting in an office waiting for a project. We want to be working and creating and using our full attention. Open source technology is ours. It's how it enables us to work across the wide swath of industry. And networking is actually sharing. It's not so much collecting business cards as it is seeing and telling what other people are doing. And lastly, we insist on meritocracy, where the right job goes to the right person. And it's done not because of this connection, but because of the quality of the work. So, those are just broad thoughts. I hope you can hear me. I hope I was somewhat clear. I mean, here's my information. So go to BeHance.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Email me at bill@behance.com. Find me on Twitter at William Allen. I'll turn it back over to you guys now. If you have any questions or thoughts, or maybe you can get me one break. Go from there.
Thank you. This is my first time